Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Colleen Meyer. Welcome to a brand new take with Michelle Petties. I'm going to introduce our wonderful host. Michelle is a speaker, an author, and a master food story finder. Michelle, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, my wonderful producer and moderator, Dr. Colleen Meyer. So, in that introduction, Colleen said that I am a master food story finder. What she did not tell you is that I used to be a food addict. I used to be a yo yo dieter. I used to be a sugar addict. Over my lifetime, I have gained and lost 700 pounds. But now I am free of that. And every Sunday night, I gather, I gather my cast of characters, and we talk about eating for the right reasons. What we do here on a brand new take, if it's Sunday night and it's 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, we are pulling the covers back on why we eat what we eat. And once we can get to the root of that, at least that's what I found. Once I got to the root of that, then everything shifted for me. Everything changed for me. And I was able to get some peace, some pride, some power, some freedom, and some confidence and some joy, not in food, but in living. So, what we do on Sunday nights, I have my panel here. I have the illustrious and wonderful Gina Cushenberry, licensed nutritionist in the Washington, D.C. area. She comes in with a brand new take on what our dilemma happens to be, what our dilemma of the week happens to be, and I'll share with you what that's all about very shortly. And tonight we have one of my favorite authors, Leslie Davis, the author of You Can't Eat Love, right? And so we weigh in along with, sometimes we have a fitness trainer here who weighs in. Sometimes we have somebody else who's on their journey weighing in on the question. And quite frankly, if you're watching right now, you can weigh in on what the dilemma happens to be. You can just put it in the chat and we can pull back the covers on it. Because here's the thing. We think it's about the food. And I'm not saying the food's not important. I'm not saying exercise is not important. But what I am saying is that what's more important is the story behind the food. It's all in your head. We've all heard it. We've all heard it. We've said it. We've probably read it 1,000 times. It's 80% what you eat, right? And it's 20% how you move. Well, the reality is it's 100. It's before you can do the 80-20, you got to do the 100% adjustment in your head. You got to do that first, right? You have to do that first. And so what we do on a brand new take on Sunday nights is we do sort of like role playing, right? So every week I post up a dilemma. And if you happen to have a dilemma, a question about how you should handle a food situation, you can shoot it to me at iambrandnewnow@gmail.com. You can join the I Am Brand New Now Facebook group and post it in the group. You can put the dilemma up on the Instagram page at I Am Brand New Now, and we'll unpack it on Sunday nights. We unpack all sorts of situations, because here's the thing, is that we often get in tough situations when we don't even realize that we aren't hungry. We don't recognize another emotion that is clouding our judgment about food, because we're so used to eating as a conditioned response. So what we do is we attack those conditioned responses and offer up what we believe are some good alternatives to eating, right? So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to have Dr. Colleen read this week's dilemma, and we're going to go through some of the responses. We're going to have our guests weigh in on the responses. This is actually something that happened to me, and I'll tell you what I did at the end of the 30 minutes. All right, Dr. Colleen, it's all on you.
Michelle, are you going to share a little bit real quick about your book that's coming out?
Yes, I will. I will share a little bit about my book.
You were mentioning Leslie's book, which is really good, and then I was waiting for you to say something about your book. and then just let it go
and
right by.
I'm not even talking about my own book. Oh man, oh man. All right. So I do have a book that is coming your way, and it is Leaving Large: The Stories of a Food Addict. And the stories really illustrate how I overcame my 42-year battle with obesity. And it will soon be out in an ebook. Then it's going to be out in a hard book. You can download a free chapter right now. You can download a free chapter right now at www.leavinglarge.com. And once you download a free chapter, that means I have your information, because I'm going to ask for your email address, and then I can notify you. You can be notified when the ebook is available and when the hardback is available. And what I found is going through these stories, through going through these stories, I was really able to get to the root of why I had certain cravings, and had certain reactions around certain foods. And what I hope is that in my stories, you'll be able to find your own stories. And if you're looking for support, I know, Colin, you're going to ask me about this. If you're looking for support in finding your own food stories, as they were, I can, certainly help you. You can reach out to me at iambrandnewnow@gmail, and I can help you find, face, rewrite, and replace your food stories. And knowing what your food stories are actually help you stick to a program, because we all get into situations whatever it is, whether it's Nutrisystem, Weight Watcher, a program that a nutritionist like Gina might put you on, whatever you decide to do, you bump up against something that makes it hard for you to follow through. And you don't always understand, but I've got this program here, I've got this plan here, but I can't stick to it. I keep falling off the wagon. That the secret to getting back on the wagon, and why you're falling off the wagon, is in your food story. Was that good enough for you, Colleen?
Yes. And it's addictive, because I think I shared this with you, that when I see people and I think, what's their food story? What's the, and then my mom's dog, she's feeding him all this stuff he shouldn't eat. And I'm like, he's going to have to write a book what his food story is. She feeds him stuff he shouldn't be eating. He's getting, I'm like, oh, he's going to get diabetes. Teddy, what's your food story? Okay.
Well, you know what? Now that you've gotten me down this food story rabbit hole, I will share for anybody that is watching for the first time and this food story thing is just coming up for you. Here's what a food story is. A food story really determines how we react or manage a certain food or certain food situations. And our food story is based on our experiences, our events, and memories that we associate with certain foods. So when we have some quick example that anybody can understand, all right? My sweetie does not eat peanuts. He does not eat peanuts. He does not eat beans. He doesn't eat seafood. It's because he's allergic to all of that. If he eats any of those foods, his face is going to swell up, his throat's going to swell up, he'll probably kill over and die, right? That is his food story. That's what keeps him from eating those particular foods, because he has a food story that says, if I eat this, it's not going to be good. Right? And so in the same manner, we all have food stories that say, man, if I eat this right here, all these wonderful memories are going to come back. It is going to be good. I'm going to be transported to my mama's kitchen, to my grandmother's kitchen, to my auntie's kitchen, to wonderful times with my friends. And I want to keep reliving that. That's a food story. And so we have to separate. We have to be really conscious and diligent about separating the feelings that we have for food and the feelings that certain foods evoke from the food itself. We need to separate the food from the feelings, and then we can get some clarity and not be confused about the real purpose of eating. The real purpose of eating, which we're about to unpack, tonight with the dilemma. So,
do you want me to read it?
I've introduced our guest tonight. Colleen's about to read the dilemma, and we're going to do some unpacking.
Unpacking. Okay, this is coming from me, Michelle. Okay, so I got up and had coffee and a protein shake for breakfast after my morning walk. Met a coworker for lunch. I ordered a very delicious large house salad with avocados and told the server to take the cornbread off my plate. In the late afternoon, I got hungry and bought a large bag of cashews and a bag of trail mix. Now it is 9:30 p.m. and I'm just getting home. I am very tired after a long day and my sweetie cooked baked chicken, squash, and green beans. What do I do? And I want to hear what Gina's going to say about the cashews and the trail mix. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, you know what, that's my dilemma. That was my situation. I'm just being totally transparent, right? I'm being totally transparent because the reality is, even on this journey, you have days when you don't really make the best choices, right? You just make the choices in front of you, but you just get back on track. So
that's exactly right.
So go ahead.
But well, I was gonna ask first, but I wasn't sure. Did you eat the cashews in the trail mix?
Yes, I did. Yes,
Okay,
I did.
so you ate those. Okay, so you ate. I wasn't sure if you just got them and you hadn't eaten them yet. I wasn't sure. Okay, so you had that. Okay. I mean, as a nutritionist, the first question I would ask you is, what happened at that lunch? It sounds like maybe it wasn't a full enough lunch to fill you up, possibly. So it might be something to consider. Did you have protein in that salad?
I did. I did. Okay. However, what happened to me was that lunch was filling and satisfying, but as I got into the afternoon, I normally take like some fruit with me in the afternoon, a snack, and then I normally have dinner. But my day just kind of got hijacked, so I didn't do any of those things. I didn't have my normal snack, so I got the snack. Gotcha. And then I got the nuts, but I didn't have dinner, and I didn't get home until really late.
Gotcha.
And so,
well, I would
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say. I mean, right there in the store, there's different sizes, right? So that's the first place that I would say we need to look at the portion size. So you got probably the big bag. Maybe if you gotten like the 100-calorie snack size, then that wouldn't have led to eating the whole bag. So we know our triggers, we know our weaknesses. A lot of us cannot eat out of a bag, right? Because the whole bag will go. It's a common thing. I hear it a lot. I've done it myself. So I think it was the portion control thing is what I would say would be the biggest factor. And you can do that in the store. It's that decision of, I don't need that whole big bag. Let me get the snack size. There's a snack size almost for every little thing these days.
Hey, Gina, I have a question.
Yeah.
When I was reading that, I was thinking, because avocado is fat, but it's a good fat, and nuts are fat, but they're a good fat. So should we eat that one of those if we had to, because I know that's good.
I mean, I think it's I think that's a great point. I think that's where people get a little confused. It's portions. It's all about portions. We can eat that stuff, but it's a fine line where it becomes too much, right? And then your body, it's overwhelming, and then it's too much to break down at once, and then some of it potentially could get stored, right? If we're not active. So they're all healthy things, but it's about portion. That's the key thing, I would say. So, in that dilemma.
What did Colleen?
Hold on. Okay. To circle to one thing that Gina pointed out, because this was one of my questions. It sounds to me as if you were focusing on having a very large salad. And oftentimes when we're focusing on having a very large salad, we are discounting how much protein we're having. Yes, you can order, the salad with some protein, but by my experience, they're not giving me a sufficient enough amount of protein in order for me to make it to 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I realize a salad is a lovely option. It's a great option. It's very filling. But the protein is what's going to sustain us. Yes, the avocado was a good choice, but as Gina said, it's all about how much of things that we are eating.
Mhm.
So I would say if someone is making a decision to go out and have a salad for lunch, okay, great, that's amazing. Have your dressing on the side. You want some avocado with it, that's awesome. You might consider, substituting some of that avocado for the salad dressing that you're having, or going for, vinaigrette and or oil and vinegar and mixing your own. But try and get 3 to 6 ounces of protein so that you can make it through the day, because that protein is what's going to help you stabilize your blood sugar. It's going to give you the energy. It's going to keep you awake so you don't hit that mid-afternoon slump.
Right.
And then in your case, where your day got hijacked, I don't know if the hijacking occurred before or after lunch, but one of the things that I have learned is when I get hijacked, I need to start seeking and finding protein, so that I have the ability to do whatever the heck it is that I've got to do, so that I'm not going in and looking at my different options of nuts and trail mix. And I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but when I'm in that kind of situation, the only bag that is showing up on that shelf is the giant one. The other one simply ran off and hid, back in the back storeroom, and all that's sitting there is the giant bag, and it's saying, "Buy me, I'm fabulous."
I think, just to piggyback on that, when you brought up something, I think another important thing to think about is how we eat through the day. Because a lot of us try to start off with these great, perfect days of what we think like, and it tends to be that you're eating less in the morning, less in the afternoon, and then that nighttime comes and we're starving. And so then we're eating a lot more of the wrong things. So I think maybe in this particular dilemma, something to consider, the lesson learned maybe from this partially for some people is increase the volume for breakfast. Eat a little bit more at breakfast. Your lunch could be your bigger meal. Go ahead and I know we go in with that great intention, like I want to have a salad, I want to be healthy, but sometimes that salad it's not enough. It's not sustaining, like you were saying, as far as like not enough protein, or maybe maybe you needed a little bit of carb with it. So some other things to maybe consider when you're eating through the day, especially when if you're somebody who's a busy person and your evenings tend to get hijacked a little bit, might be something to consider. Yeah.
So I'm fascinated with the direction of the conversation and the comments. And Colleen, I do want to hear what the people in the group had to say.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I feel like personally, like through the day, except for days like this when I get hijacked, I manage throughout the day. I don't find myself getting overly hungry, and I manage it, right? So this is part of the journey. But what I was keenly aware in the dilemma for me on that day wasn't really what I ate during the day. The dilemma for me was the coming home and making the decision: am I hungry or am I tired? And knowing the difference between hunger and weariness, and coming home and not eating just because I'm home, and not eating just because he cooked.
It's a meal.
So that was the real dilemma for me. That all right, now that and not only that, since it was as late as it was, that becomes a bigger question. And even as we talk about the choices that I made during the day, so I had the protein shake, I had the salad, I had the nuts, but I hadn't, even though I feel like the nuts and the salad and the protein shake gave me what I needed for protein during the day, I still hadn't had a lot of substance past that. And so now I'm thinking, it's the end of the day. I could have used some more substance, but it's late. And and I feel like I should eat more because I didn't eat as much as I should have during the day, but I am more tired and it is late. What do you do? I've got this wonderful meal.
Mhm.
I got a few more minutes before I tell you what I did. But that was really kind of where I was going with this, and what
Mhm.
what people might think is that if you feel like you run around all during the day and maybe you haven't made the best choices, and you come home and you're tired, maybe not so hungry, maybe you're hungry and tired, and you see good healthy choices because that was a beautiful meal. Do you do that? Because all at that time, at that point, at 9 o'clock, all I'm going to do is eat and go to bed,
Mhm.
right? All I'm going to do is eat and go to bed. So where is what's happening? And the question really is for me,
Do you eat?
not only that, if I eat or if I don't eat, why am I doing it? Am I am I really hungry? Am I really hungry?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I tired and this tiredness is showing up as hunger? And so to be able to sit and identify, or am I eating because my sweetie just made this meal and I don't want him to feel bad because he's because he's cooked. Plus I have all these other things going on. So it's just a question about being mindful of the realness of situations, right?
Mhm. Right.
Especially if you're on a journey, especially if maybe you're trying to break some habits,
Right.
especially if you see kind of what I was
And I
saying there.
think and I think it ties really, really well in with some of the things that we've been talking about over the past couple of weeks. It's
Mhm.
really the questions that you just asked yourself. You really, when you can get yourself to a place that you have to take that minute to say, am I hungry? Am I tired? And follow through with it
Yeah,
and be true to yourself because
yeah,
you know what your goal is, what your intentions are to reach that goal, and make sure that those decisions that you make once you've hit that door align with it, right? So
right,
at that time, you said you weren't so hungry. It was just like, but he made this meal and he had, so take the meal for lunch tomorrow.
right, right,
It's the lunch tomorrow and you get your rest,
right. And I want to just kind of like unpack this go to bed hungry thing,
Yeah.
right? Um, I I don't have, and this is where a food story comes in, right? I don't have an issue going to bed hungry, right? And I
Mhm.
and I went to bed hungry a lot when I was trying to get rid of those last pounds, right?
Mhm.
That was part of the journey, learning to figure that out, and also learning that it is, it's okay to go to bed hungry. It was not going to kill you to go. It's not going to kill you to go to bed hungry, especially if you're, like you said, you have a goal in mind, and maybe you've already eaten as much during the day, many calories or whatever it is you're counting. Maybe you've already maximized that, right? And so that becomes a lesson. Is like, all right, if I don't want to be hungry, I need to redistribute how I do this so that I don't
Mhm.
run into the problem again. But we do have stories. Many of us have stories that we grow up with, that you shouldn't go to bed hungry, or I can't go to bed hungry, or what does it mean if you go to bed hungry? And a lot of those stories are rooted in lack. A lot of those stories are rooted in poverty, or rooted in status,
Mhm.
and not being able to provide for your family, or all of that. I mean, there's some emotional stuff wrapped in. Oh my god. Oh, we went to bed hungry because, I mean, and that going to bed hungry has this negative connotation of not not being able to eat, not being able to afford food, not, it has that attached to it, as opposed to some sort of change in mindset. And as soon as we can not attach these economic
Mhm.
conditions to what going to bed hungry means, then we can free ourselves from that. So that's a food story that
Mhm.
needs to be explored I can't go to bed hungry. All right. Let's say you feel like you can't go to bed hungry, right? Then that doesn't mean you have to go to bed with a 6-course meal, right? Then, just start backing it back. If you don't want to go to bed hungry, just get an apple, get a banana, get some fruit, right?
Mm-hmm. Or
And
have
then,
another protein shake.
or have another protein shake. It doesn't mean that we have to have the cabbage and the cornbread and the and the chicken and the barbecue sauce and everything that goes along with it, because we're still stuck in this old story.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hey, Michelle.
mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Lizzie. Hey, Michelle. I'm driving out to LA, so I've been staying a little bit with my mom and my sisters there, and she makes these huge portions of because and they're healthy. She really works hard because she had a heart attack about a year ago. But she makes these portions I don't eat. And so I told her, because when I come home, she has everything ready. I told her, so I pulled out and this is the truth. I pulled out a sandwich plate, the little sandwich plate. And I told her at dinner, I only eat on this plate, because, and I'm trying to get her the same way because she's having, she has issues with her heart and stuff. But it was that, I think we need to, what you're and everyone, Leslie and Gina, I think, in this whole thing is it helps people understand that, to break these habits. And it's okay. Like if I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Okay. But maybe, your honey made you chicken and some veggies, right? Have a couple of veggies, put it on a little bitty plate, veggies and some of the chick without any skin, and bam, bam, how many calories can that be? 80 maybe, and I mean, Gina way more than I am, but boom, and that way, I don't know. I just think I can't sleep if I'm hungry when I go to bed. I don't think it's a food story. I just think I don't sleep all night.
Well,
it could be a food story. It could be up there, right?
Sleep is important, right? And sleep is important. You need to get your sleep for sure. You need to get your sleep.
I know I cut off Leslie. Go ahead, Leslie. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's one of the things that I like is, we all kind of jump in on, which makes it very exciting. Anyway, one of the things that I was going to say is, so many times, and I did this to myself too, I would say, okay, I've eaten all the food that I can have to eat, so now I just have to go to bed, and I have to go to bed and I'm hungry. Well, then that sets off that cycle of shaming and, how can you have made these bad choices? And it can set off a whole dialogue inside your head that is not helpful. So if you have, as Gina was explaining, if you have a healthy dialogue with yourself, okay, I'm tired. I already had all these cashews. I had this trail mix. At the moment, I am not hungry. It has nothing to do with, this food being here in front of me at 9:30 at night. I, have already nourished my body. I don't need anything else other than a hot bath with a lot of bubbles in it and then climb into my bed. That's all that I need. That's a healthy conversation that you have with yourself. Instead of coming through the door and you're like, oh my gosh, I ate that whole bag of cashews. I ate all that trail mix and now I'm still really hungry. And I've just already blown it for the day. So I'm going to have to go to bed hungry. So you hear the difference in the conversation.
Absolutely.
And I think that it is so critical that when we are on this journey that we pay attention to the conversations that we're having with ourselves.
Yeah.
And you guys can laugh, but I just really believe that we should eliminate the word should from our vocabulary. Because that, to me, when you say should, it implies that you are not going to do that. And then this horrible parental figure is going to stand behind you and shame you for not having done what you should do. Now, to talk about what you were talking about, people who come from a position of lack. That lack is a whole another psychological thing. And I would say if that's the position that you're coming from, please, please, please be very kind to yourself and acknowledge where the feelings are coming from, because those are real emotions. I personally did not have a deep understanding of those words until several years ago when I was in Zimbabwe. And it was my last day there, so I had gotten rid of all of my extra cash, which usually I'd go in country with a fair amount of money, and I'd leave the country with $20, and that was it, because I'd leave it all behind. But anyway, I had no no cash other than my $20. And this young woman came to me and asked if I could, help her with some lunch. And I had to apologize to her and say, I'm so sorry, I don't have any cash right now. While I had the $20, I didn't want to be traveling that far without $20. Um, and she said, well, I have nothing to eat. And I felt so horrible because when she said to me, I have nothing to eat, she meant she had nothing. Zip, zilch, zero, nada to eat. No beans, no flour, nothing. I'm talking about you just moved into your house and you open the cupboard and it's bare, nothing to eat. Now we were able, because there was a large group of women that we were teaching sewing, and we were able to, pull together some lunch for her, so she did not go hungry. So that's why I'm saying I understand when people talk from a position of lack. So I'm saying, be kind to yourself when you're on this journey, and speak to that child that you were, that was not in control, and recognize that now you are in control and you can make a choice, and you can get in your car and you can go to the grocery store and you can get the things that you need so that you can take care of yourself. But again, if we're doing this and the dilemma that Michelle presented, come through the door, have a healthy conversation with yourself. Am I hungry? Am I slightly hungry? Am I just tired? Am I through with the day? If I'm through with the day, let me fix myself some lunch for tomorrow, go get a nice hot bath, and fall into bed. But at the end of where it all circles around to is, let's be kind to ourselves and recognize where we are.
Absolutely. And with that being said, Leslie, what I did that was kind to myself was I didn't take a bath. I didn't take a shower. I just came in and jumped in the bed and went to sleep. I didn't eat. I didn't eat. I just fell in the bed. I quite frankly, I'm not even sure if I took my clothes off. I don't know. I'm not sure if I put pajamas on or change into pajamas. But in that moment when I came through, what I recognized how I was new. And I recognized what this work is all about for me, about what it means to be brand new. That I came home and honored what I was feeling then, which was tiredness. And I didn't come home and just eat because I was home, right? I didn't eat and go to bed, right? And that it was a new behavior, and I was operating in a new space. And what we have to do, right? And we have it's a journey, right? Figure it out what new behaviors we have to adopt to get us to the place that we want to be. Because ultimately, it's how we want to look, it's how we want to feel, it's how we want to show up in the world. And it's the choices that we make. It's the choices that we make in these kind of murky areas, in the areas that are murky right now for us sometimes, that make the difference in that. So we're at our 30 minutes. We're a little bit over, but I know you all will forgive us. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for checking us out on a brand new take tonight. I want to thank you, Leslie, for jumping in on the conversation. Your comments, your insight, your wisdom is always so appreciated. Gina, please let people know how they can find you, how they can get your recipes, how they can get in touch with a nutritionist like you, you specifically, because even though we do the work of changing our mindset, right? Even though we do the work of moving and working out and going to the gym and all that, we have to change. We have to change how we eat. We have to change what we consume and how we consume it. And one of the best ways to do that is with somebody with a license and some initials after their name.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Gina Trim Nutrition, or you can email me directly, ginatrimnutrition@gmail.com.
Thank you so much, Dr. Colleen Meyer, producer, moderator extraordinaire. Appreciate you tonight, ladies.
Thank you.
We'll see you.
It was nice. Thank you very much.
If you're watching, hope we'll see you next Sunday.